Thank you for joining us, Dr. Kalibata. How do you see the future of food systems transformation? And why are national pathways and coordination even more important now?
Thank you for having me. Food systems is something that is extremely important now. When the Secretary General launched the Food Systems Summit, we knew we had challenges that had to be dealt with from a systems perspective. We just didn't know how quickly those challenges would pile up. We are losing biodiversity very fast because of food systems. We are contributing to climate change because of food systems. And we are not addressing health the way we should. 1 in every 3 people have health-related diseases. The true cost of food, which came out in the Food Systems Summit, has highlighted that it's extremely important that we understand that our food has externalities that the environment and people's health are paying for.
Now, how does the current global crisis change the debate on food security?
The current crisis brings out one thing very clearly. It's not one crisis. It's a crisis on top of crisis, and this message has come out very clearly. The most important challenge that many of the rural communities, especially in Africa, that are dealing with is climate change. So this problem that we have with Ukraine is really exacerbating a problem that was already existing. It's not just Africa. Many communities that are struggling to survive and produce using the agricultural sector are struggling. So I think the most critical message here is there is an underlying threat to our lives and livelihoods that is already impacting how we deal with each other, how we work with each other, and we must address that. So it's really, really important that we understand the centrality of climate change to these communities. For these communities, the message for me, the biggest message is this is an opportunity to strengthen resilience. And some of the knowledge we need to strengthen resilience does exist already among us. We've come at this from a food system perspective. We are not talking about producing food. We are looking at what else is involved in food, whether it is the businesses that are created around food and food value chains. We know that in these times of crisis, young people that are trying to offer solutions to smallholder farmers using digital tools have thrived. SMEs that have gotten the ability to use digital tools and be able to provide services to communities and taking food to communities have thrived. So let's not look, this is the opportunity that we don't get to look at food as production and difficult production. This is the time we get to look at the whole value chain. The food system gives us an opportunity to look at the whole value chain, number one. Number two, it gives us an opportunity to bring in all these other sectors that impact the whole area around agriculture. And it broadens the opportunities for jobs, it broadens the opportunities to engage and produce more, it broadens the opportunities to be able to tap into the knowledge that we have, whether it is in science or in communities that we live with. So for me, we need to feed the world. Smallholder farmers have been part of feeding the world for the longest time. This is not the time you give up on feeding the world. This is the time you work with all the innovations we have. The Food Systems Summit demonstrated that there are so many innovations in our midst.
What would you like the donor community to get out of the annual General Assembly going on right now at the Global Donor Platform for Rural Development? And especially from your perspective as the head of AGRA.
For the longest time, we've been talking about how transforming the agriculture sector is critical to transforming rural communities. That's what IFAD does. That's what an institution like AGRA does, focusing on giving choices to rural communities so that they can be able to transform. So for me, this crisis is about finding those areas that give us opportunities to double down and do what we're supposed to do. Push those choices to farmers. Those choices are going to have to be several-fold. They're going to have to be climate resilient. They're going to have to be better markets for farmers. And they're going to have to be better access to technologies. And now we have, again, like I said, new ways of accessing technologies. So let's use the opportunity that is being created to really double down, because we do understand that feeding people is going to have to be number one. We've taken it for granted, don't get me wrong. We've taken it for granted. We all know it's important, but we've taken it for granted. The opportunity here now is that we can actually put these smallholder farmers that are feeding us that need to move forward with us, that don't need to be excluded. Let's deliver many for one. For every dollar, let's deliver multiple opportunities for these farmers, and they will be able to feed us.